This is the Author Panel Edition, hosted by Muthoni Omukhango and sponsored by CLC Kenya.
Yeah, welcome Muthoni to take over from here.
Thank you very much, Jackie. We appreciate you. So today we are focusing on the mummies, the mothers. I don't know how your day was for the two of you. We have Dr. Chakua. What a privilege to have you here today. Dr. Caro is an author for Parenting with Your Heart. And even just the title alone, I can relate. Sometimes you can parent when your heart is not is not there at all. And we'll be talking a little bit about this book. And then we have Margaret Vidolo, and she has done a book, The Diamond Underneath, Resilience in Times of Crisis. And it's an absolute pleasure to have the two ladies, even as we focus on Mother's Day and we focus on the moms, we focus on the women, because I think women do a lot. I feel like we were created with something extra to be able to handle all these things that we are doing. And so we'll be having that conversation even as we look at parenting with a mission. We have to be intentional. And so to start us off, I want to hear how your day was. Mine was absolutely amazing. I had my husband arrange with the kids, and they shared with me, the good things that I do for them as a mommy. And my son says he doesn't know what he would do without me. I was like, oh, that's so sweet. And it's just those small things that really matter. They give us that energy to be able to move forward when our kids, sometimes they don't appreciate what we are doing. But later in life, I also have a 19-year-old, and it's later in life that she was like, you know what? I'm grateful for what you've done for me, where you were strict with me. At one point, she said, I think this area you are not very strict. I wish you were a bit strict. I'm just thinking, wait a minute, what did you do with my daughter? Because you're just like, you're the strictest mother in the whole world. She had done her research, but later in life, she, our kids are able to look and see, yeah, it was tough love, but it was absolutely necessary. So let me hear, how did you spend your Mother's Day? It's the small things that matter. I'll start with Dr. Caro and then Margaret, even as we get into the conversation. Dr. Caro.
Wow. Yeah, what a lovely day you had, Muthoni. I had a regular Sunday for me. I think it's more of how did I spend my Sunday?
Because your son is in school?
No, he's not. He's
yeah.
Not. Yeah. It's honestly, today I've been I'm recovering from a flu, so I didn't have any grand plans. And no, that I'm fine. I'm actually recovering. I have my water that I'm sipping, but I had my son is around. I also had I always, most of the time, have nephews and nieces in my space. So I had my nephew, my niece over yesterday. Actually, I've had my niece from Thursday, and then my nephew came on Friday, yesterday, and so it was they long story, but my son and my nephew had a match yesterday, and they lost. So today, I think I was just mostly in the mood of comforting them because they had such high hopes of winning, and they even had plans of what they would do with the trophy. And so they came yesterday. They were all tired and feeling dejected. And we had dinner, went to bed. This morning, I just woke up to make them breakfast, just to lift them up. So that's what we did, actually. Had a late breakfast together with them, with my niece. Still hung out. We played a game together, and then I dropped my niece and my nephew back to my brother's house. And then that was about it. In the afternoon, we've come back home with my son. He's preparing for school this afternoon, and I rested. at around 3, I have a lady who comes once in a while to do home massage. So this afternoon, I had a massage, a masseuse come over.
Wow. I'm so envious.
And yeah, and
Yeah.
so yeah, I mean, it's just something I liked to do when I can afford. And so I had a really nice massage this afternoon when my son was doing his stuff and preparing for school.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
Wow, that's definitely, that is not a regular Sunday. That's just awesome. Just feels like it was full, and I'm happy that even on Mother's Day that you had that opportunity to still minister to your children, to your son and to the cousins. So that's absolutely amazing. Thank you, Dr. Carol. Margaret.
Yeah, I was just enjoying how Dr. Carol was having her massage.
I know.
Yeah, my Sunday was good. I woke up very early. I had my time with God, and then I prepared breakfast. Today, we didn't have our usual service where we normally minister. We went to visit a church where we like, they are our mentors in Eldoret.
Yeah.
So we had a normal service, but after the service, we got a surprise where all of us who are mothers were called in front. We had to give a testimony of our motherhood. And then they had gifts for us. Then we cut a cake. And it felt so nice to be appreciated, because I realized, like, as a mother, many times I'm a giver, and sometimes I give until I forget about myself. And here was somebody on this particular day who thought about me. So during lunch break, we went and had lunch with my family. Then in the afternoon, we were in some school, it's called Testimony School, where we were having kids of below 10 years they were having a concert. And we were so touched by how young they were, and they are able to do music and grasp the skills just at that young age. And out of it, we were able to appreciate our motherhood. They're also able to appreciate us as mothers. And we've left a bit late, so we didn't manage to plan for a dinner out. We just come home and had our dinner. And yeah, we are here. But above all, we really just thank God for everything. Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. That's good. Just been reminded that we are absolutely important people, the people in this call. And apart from Jacqueline, I can see Joanne has joined us. So I know all of us are mothers. Apart from Jacqueline, she's still working towards that. And I told her the correct order. You get married, then you become a mother. So I've just been preaching that to her. I just been reminded. There's one quote I absolutely love by C.S. Lewis. He says that the ultimate career is that of a homemaker, as in when you that person who can be able to give to your children, to your family. That's the ultimate career. And then he says all the other careers, they come to support that ultimate career. So all these other things that we are doing, they're just coming to support that calling we have. Maybe you can ask Dr. Carol, how has your parenting journey been like? Do you have 5 children or 1? Are they 20? Are they 5? I'm joking. I know about you, but maybe you can share with us how your journey has been.
All right. Yes, I have a son, 1, who is 13, turned 13 in January. And my parenting journey has been bumpy. Bumpy. I actually, my son is my second child. I lost my first child.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
And so it was traumatizing and all that. Baby girl already and all that, but she didn't make it out of the hospital. I have also raised my niece. My niece is now 20. She's turning 20 in June. I had her for a period of about 5 to 7 years when she was 5 to 12.
Yeah.
My sister lives in the US, and my niece was with me for that period of time until she left. I am a mom. I am surrounded by nieces and nephews. And then, of course, when you talk about parenting journey, I also see myself as a teacher. There's that parenting role as a therapist working with children.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I've had so many, and I keep having so many parenting experiences, even as a parent, my son, who is 13. And I think he's privileged because I have gained so much experience, and then I actually get to practice it live on him.
Yes.
The others, I sort of make mistakes with them, and then of course I still make mistakes with my son as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my parenting journey, and I think for me, yes, I'm also in a co-parenting relationship where my son gets to be with me most of the time, but he also spends quality time with his father and that side of the family. And I feel he gets the best of both worlds. It's also been a journey getting to that place for me. It's not like it's been perfect and smooth all the way, but it's been a journey of growth, maturity, a lot of letting go. And so that's also another very important aspect of my parenting.
Awesome. When you say you make mistakes, you experiment. That's what my firstborn daughter, Abia, 19 now, and she says, "Oh, I see some of these things. You did it like this with me. I can see you've not now figured whether that style worked or did not work." So she says we experimented a lot with her, and both the good and the bad. So definitely, we know that there are things we did with her. We are not doing with our second born, who is 8, and our third born, who is 5. So I totally get you when you say about, you get this revelation. You also want, before you go out there and teach people, it has to be that model that where Jesus, the Bible says that Jesus, the things he began to do and then to teach. So we have to do them, and then we can tell people this one works or this one does not work, and because we have the experience. So thank you very much, Dr. Caro. Margaret, how has been your journey? You have 2 kids, so you can tell, or maybe there are 3, I don't know, but you can let us know. The ones I know, there are 2.
Wow, thank you, Muthoni. Well, my parenting journey has had its own up and down, but above all, I appreciate it because it's such a God-given role. We are in our parenting course because of God, and He has given us that grace that we are able to do it. My parenting came at a time when I had gone through so much. First of all, when I got married, I had a hormonal imbalance that gave me a brain tumor. And as a result, the doctors told me I'm unable to conceive. And so when we were at the verge of giving up, the neurosurgeon had tried all he could because the tumor was at a sensitive place. So he said all he can do maybe is give me medicine to try and shrink it. And the tumor wasn't shrinking. But miraculously now, God just sent a neurosurgeon from Spain. So immediately he finished with me. It was a month of June. July, I conceived. So you can imagine, it was just a transition now from being very, very sick, some stress and trauma on somebody, and a new marriage at that. We are just about 5 years old in marriage. Then you have this pregnancy coming in. We normally call it precious pregnancy because you've been trying to get pregnant and it hasn't been easy. So you're very extra cautious. You don't want to fall. You must know you feel unwell. You have to rush to the hospital. But thank God the first was okay. And immediately I finished that, now you're becoming a mother. And then you have to go back to work. So you don't have a long time to really be there for your baby. You have to entrust her to a house help whom you're not so sure because it's all new things and all that.
Yeah.
But at that point, I also learned to let go, to trust my house help, because the first few months, I remember being at work and I'm just concerned, you know.
Yeah.
And at night, I'm there checking on the baby. Is she still breathing? And all that, you know, being a first-time mother.
I know.
A little sneeze and a little cough. You're there running, and then for some months, that colic thing is a sleepless night. So there are all those kind of things. And then my kids are like twins. So immediately, she was barely one year. Then I conceive again. And this second one was like a shock, like, I didn't expect, but she's here. And then we journeyed along. And it's been interesting because now the firstborn is 13, the secondborn is 11. I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it because my sole support has been God and the Bible together with my husband. And even right now, I have to work far from where they are, but there are those weekends we make sure we have time together. And then things like homework, I have to depend on the gadgets. They do their homework, they screenshot, they send me, we discuss. So I ensure like once a month or twice a month when we are together, at least we have something we're doing together, like cooking, reading, playing, and all that. So in a nutshell, that is where I am. I'm not yet there, but that's where I am. And I'm grateful for it.
Awesome. You know, that just what you said brings us to our next topic or discussion, which is what we understand by parenting with a mission, and it's what making do with your circumstances. Chakua is talking about co-parenting. You're talking about being very far away from your kids and your family and trying to make that work. But I wanted to share with you a joke about firstborn kids. They say when you have your first child, when they eat the soil, you know, they go out when they're maybe 2, 3, they're trying to discover, and they eat soil. When you find the child, you take the child, you rush to the hospital, you'll be calling the doctor while you're on your way. My child has eaten soil. Please, I need you to see me immediately I come. Then you get your second child. They eat the soil. You come and find they've eaten soil, and you tell your nanny or your house help, just clean their mouth, let them take some water. And then when you have your third child and you find they've eaten soil, you're just like, is he full or do we still give him dinner? You know? Anyway, just making fun that, you know, when you have your first child, everything has to be very perfect. Packing like 4 months before, you have your hospital bag, it is ready and everything. Anyway, it's just a joke. I have 3 kids. And so I understand when they say that, I'm just like, he's going to be okay, the third born. I know he's going to be okay, but it's because of experience. So your conversation, Margaret, brings us to that point, parenting with a mission. Dr. Caro is an expert. She'll be telling us there's no one perfect way of doing this. And as we are mothers, all of us are in different circumstances. Myself, I was a single mom for a few years. It's a while back, so I keep forgetting. I don't remember exactly because it feels like 1921. But we make do as mothers. We make do of the situations we find ourselves in. I like Dr. Caro is saying she's also not perfect. She's teaching about parenting. I'm also passionate about parenting, but we can never get to a place of perfection. Dr. Caro, what do you understand by parenting with mission?
Wow, parenting with a mission. And I think I like how we are starting, that there's no perfect way. And there is no, I like to say great parents are not born, they become. Becoming is a process. The other one that I like is if parenting had a GPS, it would mostly read recalibrating. Most of the time.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, it would mostly read recalibrating.
Yes.
And so the mission, my goodness, should also evolve as we evolve. That's what I believe. So, but fundamentally, what I have come to discover that runs as a thread throughout every space of parenting is the importance of continuing to cultivate a relationship with our children.
Awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
That for me should be the fundamental mission.
Yeah.
So even when parents come to me with whatever struggles they're having, struggles with children who have behavioral issues, school issues, all that, I can't help it. Sometimes I say, okay, let me help you sort out whatever issue it is so we can help your child. But somehow, because it's just the same thing over and over, I find myself going back into how are you showing up with your children every day? How are you, what are the dynamics of your relationships? When you are encountering a challenge with your child, how are you showing up in that moment? And that feeds into the relationship. So for me, parenting with a relation, I'm even just saying it, parenting with a mission really should focus on continuously working on cultivating a healthy relationship with your children. And I know we desire outcomes. We want our children to make a difference out there, to be resilient, to be emotionally healthy, to have great relationships. We want and we desire those things, and those are great things. But what I've come to discover is that those are actually natural outcomes, not even forced, natural fruits of cultivation, a cultivation process. And that cultivation comes from a healthy relationship. And when we are focusing on that, then the outcomes come naturally. And I must go a step further and say that this relationship begins with a relationship with ourselves. Okay. So parenting with a mission then begins with, first of all, looking at myself. How much do I like myself? Am I continually working on myself so that I can be better for myself, be kinder to myself? Because again, it's out of what is in me that will flow out to my children around me. So starting with yourself, then cultivating a healthy relationship with your child or children. And then as you keep going, we focus on the things that we desire in the bigger picture.
I have a question on just that. And I want to say that how am I showing up? It's a chapter in this book. So you need to get it. You can get it from CLC Kenya, kenyaclc.org, and you'll be able to get the book. There's something you've said right there I want for you to clarify. Is you've said, and I absolutely agree that when you have a relationship with your child, then all these other things can be sorted, because kids are dynamic, and there'll be the high moments, there'll be the low moments. But you've talked about first having a relationship with yourself. I heard TD Jakes one time he was being asked, why are you so successful? And he said that I have dated myself. People are so busy dating other people, knowing other friends. He says, I know me. I know my strengths, my weaknesses. Now, for a mom out there, we are on Mother's Days, we are celebrating mommies out there. For a mom out there who is so bogged down by all these things that we are required to do, some by the society, some we have added for ourselves. For a mom out there who has not found any space to be able to know themselves or to be able to evaluate themselves, Dr. Cairo, what are maybe 1 to 3 tips you can be able to give a woman who is really struggling? When you say find me time, they don't even know what that means, because maybe they are moving from working, they are coming home to take care of the kids and their education and all these other things that we are doing. What are the maybe 1 to 3 tips you can say on how we can discover ourselves as moms out there?
Oh, wow. It's not an easy question because it's a journey you give yourself to for a long time. But one of the things we want to demystify, I think when we say me time and care and all that, we are always thinking spa or calling in someone to come and give you a massage.
Like you did today. Yeah.
And then, yeah, I mean, that's not something everyone is able to do. And so I just want to demystify that, because that's not what it is. You know, that comes when you have time, when you have opportunity. But being able to step back and just listen to yourself, okay? Being able, for me, self-awareness is just being able to sit in a moment and ask myself, and ask myself, what am I feeling right now?
Yeah.
What am I feeling right now? I'm feeling, you know, in a moment where your child is giving you problems, you know, and maybe challenge you're experiencing, I'm feeling frustrated. So where's this frustration coming from? It's coming from a place of thinking, I'm alone, I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
Being able to allow yourself to listen to yourself, to name your feelings. We're not even socialized to name feelings.
Yeah.
You are Chakua, then you're told, no, sifungue yo mdomo, do not even try and
I know.
Yeah, we're socialized not to express, not to be real. So what I'm saying is something that's foreign to us.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's something we have to give ourselves permission to be. So you're busy 8 in the morning to 9 p.m., but just before you go to bed, take a moment, you know, take a shower, a cold shower, a warm shower, if that's what works for you at that time. What is it that helps you to just relax and unwind? Or do you just move from one thing to another quickly? We can create time, okay, to just sit and do something that relaxes us, to journal. If you're someone who journal, who can write out your feelings, okay, do something that you enjoy doing that doesn't necessarily cost you money. You know, you can go, just going out to take a walk, even in the neighborhood, even if it is a crowded neighborhood. You know, there's a thing of we can learn to be still in the midst of the noise.
Yeah.
And that's a practice that we need to cultivate, to be still in the midst of all the noise around us.
Yeah.
And that, like, it's a muscle. Jesus had to take time away to go sit and be by himself. Okay. So are you creating moments to be by yourself? One of the things that stops us from doing that, Muthoni, feel free to stop me and ask.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah,
I can go on and on in this case.
Yeah, on track. Yeah, on track.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of the things we are afraid, again, we're afraid of being up by ourselves.
Yeah.
Because one thought leads to another thought, and soon you're feeling low and anxious. And so most of this busyness we have is really more to cover up so that we do not get in touch with what is bothering us, with what we really need to get in touch with. So we use busyness as a mask.
Yeah.
So that we don't really connect with where we are at and what we need to do. So bottom line is, you can create time for yourself. But there are many things that prevent us from creating that time. And one of those things is not being able to sit with your feelings, with your emotions, with the feelings of, I am a single mom and I feel like I'm a failure and I'm raising these children without a father and they are going to go out there and they'll end up this and that, all those thoughts.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to sit, listen, deal with them and actually see them for the lies that they are. Because most of these thoughts, most of these things that plague us are a lot to do with our perceptions and not the reality. And so what I would tell this mom who feels they don't have time is create time. Create 10 minutes, 15 minutes to just do something for yourself alone. If it means waking up 15 minutes earlier before the rest, everybody else wakes up, do that. Wake up, breathe in and out, think through how you want to show up for that day. If it means going to bed, as everyone has gone to bed or doing it, if it means, and now sometimes the moms I work with, mostly the moms, but even the dads, the sessions, we have sessions because there are online sessions now in the car, in the car during lunch break, because that's the time we can make. And that's 1 hour they have created to come for coaching. And what I encourage them is, after this, keep this 1 hour for yourself. Continue putting this 1 hour. It does not have to be every day. Take 20, 30 minutes a week. Go take a walk somewhere where it's quiet, or even where it's not quiet, but learn to be comfortable with your own company.
I like that. I like that. 2 things, absolutely, or actually 3 things from what you've shared. Then I'm going to get on to Margaret on how we can be able to overcome our challenges and still be able to parent our kids. Now, one thing you've said is that me time, that self-care doesn't necessarily have to cost money, because taking a walk does not cost you anything. So sometimes when you hear you need some self-care, you're thinking, I need to go to a nice salon, I need to have my nails done, it costs money, I don't have the money, I need to do a massage, like you're saying, whether at home or at the spa, and that costs money. And so a woman thinks, when I will get the money at some point in the future, I'm going to do some of these things. And then we know, as mummies, even when you get excess, not excess, but maybe surplus, then you're always thinking about your family. Maybe my son needed this, something that is not even a necessity. Maybe they needed a new radio or whatever, I don't know, kids are needing nowadays. You find yourself, instead of using that on yourself, you feel so guilty to use that on yourself. But if I'm hearing you very well, you're talking about things that don't even cost money, just breathing in, breathing out, you processing your feelings for that day costs no money. You being able to take a walk, you being able to write down what it is that you're feeling. So I absolutely love that. I'll be asking you after I talk to Margaret about how we are shaped by our past, which is something that I know affects us a lot. You say, I can't do this because I was when I was young. So I'll be talking to you about that. But then I wanted to say, I think there's an amazing book coming up by Dr. Chakua called Demystifying Me Time. I think it will do very well. So I prophesy that it will come at the right time. But I think it will be a very good book for women, where you share with us or guide us on how we can be able, things we can be able to do. Have a me time, even when we don't have. Awesome. Awesome. Let me get to Margaret. I know you have gone through a very challenging time, Margaret, and what you have scaled, it's just crazy. And it's just so much for one person, yet you're here, you're strong, you're continuing. There's something we were to do together, and you're like, you know what? I have to do it, because these things will never stop. There will be no perfect time. So my question for you, Margaret, is how can mothers go through the journey of parenting and still manage to live out their mission in full? Because I think that's what you're doing, that in the midst of everything, we have to keep going. Margaret.
Thank you so much, Muthoni. Number one, I want to say, and I want to echo what Dr. Carol Chakua has said. Parenting doesn't come with a manual, It is not like I have this car and then I have the manual. When she cries, I know I'll press this button and the baby will. When this cries like this, I know it is hunger. Like this, I know. So, but God wired us as women. Quite interesting that we can handle all that in one setup and still go on with our normal lives.
Yeah.
Number one, we are like doctors, because that night cry at night, sometimes you go running looking for all the Panadols, making calls and all that. We are the first teachers. We are the first nutritionists for our children. So you realize things don't just happen. They are worked out.
Yeah.
And sometimes society also puts a lot of pressure on this woman, because this is what I have to say. How we care for our children, sometimes the outlook of how they appear really reflects of who we are. And even sometimes these women have never gone to any coaching class. Nobody has handholded them to really know this is how parenting is done. This is how you need to dress the baby in a diaper. You need to add a pant on top. Or this is the clothes to carry. You need to have extra clothes. So you realize society also expects so much for us as mothers. Now, over and above that, we have our own lives to live. But one thing that can keep you going, I still go back to what Carol has said. Don't forget who you are in all this. Because I find many women walking around with guilt. Guilt in that even sometimes after going out of your way to really even invest in these children, but by bad luck or something happens and they lose the way, the way you wanted them to be, and they just lose it. You end up carrying the misery in your heart, yet you are not the one to blame. So the first thing you can never do, it is to forgive yourself. Coming back to my story, before I conceived, we had been married for 5 years. And out there, people are really putting a blame on me. It looked like I had done something.
Yeah, maybe you did abortion. I don't know, you did what. People have all this things that, you must have done something to not conceive. Yes, Margaret.
Yes. So the first thing, just forgive yourself. And forgiveness comes at a place of knowing who you are, as Dr. Carol has said it. Secondly, knowing your identity, coming through to your self-identity, because I will know I'm Margaret. Beyond that, I know my weakness, I know my strength. And then I know what I'm handling, because as the child comes, sometimes you can get lost even in the parenting mood and even forget about who you are. Like even those times you're in the house, you can even forget to take a shower, dress well, look good, and be you. So the first of the things I say is, in the midst of all that drama, number one, don't forget who you are. Number two, we have to have resilience. And I think every woman everywhere is resilient. I'm an advocate of resilience. And resilience simply means being able to bounce back. And not only bouncing back, but thriving even after all that you're going through. So what I want to frame it is like, resilience also is not automatic. It is a skill. So I'll try today, I'll fall, but I'll not stop. I'll wake up tomorrow and try again. So I just rushed to town to pick the job. I could do it from my house. Then my neighbor asked me, why are you leaving a young child crying just to rush and pick a job? Then I realized just what I was saying. Sometimes society can judge you harshly, but knowing who you are, and then getting to know your strengths can help you really transcend even in those moments you feel parenting is really putting a pressure on you. Then lastly, I am a believer of who God is, and I really believe in praying, because there are things I cannot handle in my own power. Sometimes I just have to ask God for him to unveil to me even how I'll handle this child. Because Carol will tell you, children are complex in their own nature, and they're just human beings. And this is just like a computer that has been brought. It doesn't have any programs. Then it is me to install the programs in it. I install the wrong programs and install the right software. So that at the end of it, when the pressure of the world will be coming to them, they'll be able to handle it. Meaning, a woman is a builder. And all of us, we know when we do constructions, we start with foundation. And our foundations must be well done, because when we put that next stone on that foundation, definitely if it is not well done, the house will crumble. So you realize God gave us the ability. There's so much expected to us, and there's so much we go through, but there's also joy in parenting. depending on how we see it. But there's a lot of joy because God knew it's something we can handle and the grace is sufficient. And for that, I think every woman is resilient, because when we look out there at what women have done, it is incredible. Another thing I would add is women, we are also birthers, and the birthing experience is not easy, but you realize that is just the biological birthing, but you realize there are many other things we're good at. So God knew that if they can handle this well, I can also entrust them with these souls that they'll be able to handle them well to the end. So one thing I would say, let us not do disservice to ourselves by looking down upon ourselves, especially when we are going through those moments that parenting looks tough. And you can look at it and you want to carry the guilt, but I'm here to say you don't have to carry the guilt at all. Yeah, in every journey, there's a reason for it. Even the ugly one, there's always a reason for it. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much. So 3 things that I've seen, I will, understood from what you've said. Even just that definition, it's a very simple definition of resilience, that it is bouncing back from whatever challenges we'll be going through, whether it's through our parenting, it could be a job, challenges at the workplace, it could be challenges in marriage, that we have to be resilient, and that means bouncing back and thriving. So it means us going over that challenge and even becoming successful in whatever new season we'll find ourselves in. And then I just wanted to emphasize something you have said, that even as sometimes you get discouraged when you've done so much for your children, you're trying to give them a good education, you're doing discipline at home, whether you're spanking or not spanking, whichever model, but then the kids still turn out wrong. And that becomes a woman's guilt. There's I don't know whether it's a joke or whatever, but in my Kikuyu culture, that a good child belongs to the father. I'm paraphrasing. Dr. Carol must be knowing, maybe because she's done this parenting for a long time, that a good child belongs to the father. But a bad child, it means the mother did not do her job. And I find that very not right, because sometimes you've done all you can do and still the child turns the way you did not anticipate. But then there's the scripture in Proverbs, I think chapter 22, and it says, train up a child in the way they should go. And when they grow up, they will not turn away from it. And for me, I take that scripture in two parts. Our job as mothers, as parents, is to train up our children in the way they should go. The other part is not ours. How that they will depart or not depart, that is not our job, because that's God's job. There is no one who can be able to, unless now you're those manipulative people, you cannot be able to control how a human being will want to live their lives. So I say our part, make sure you're doing your very best to train up this child in the way they should go. Then God's part is to make sure that this child does not depart. And even if they depart, God will look for them from wherever. So it's very different, one, for a mother who is not trying or who is not doing their best. And I know there are some women who are there who are like that. But then for most women I know we are trying to do our very best. So I like the fact that you're saying we should not carry that guilt on ourselves because maybe the children did not turn out the way we wanted. I want to ask Dr. Carol, now, for a woman who is out there, a mother who is out there, and today not being a good Mother's Day because of the challenges they are going through, especially because of their children. So many kids are into drugs, so many kids are into immorality, so many kids are refusing to go to school. And the society now, there are many options on how your child can get lost in the world. For a woman who is out there and they've done all they can to do to be able to help this child, and it is still not enough, what would you advise or encourage that parent?
That's a difficult, very, very difficult place to be. And again, because we are here, we are saying every situation is different. I would ask that, first of all, they just focus on themselves first. One of the things parents struggle with in this space is that they've focused a lot of energy. And I know this can be annoying because I keep saying focus on yourself, but that's what you need to do. A lot of parents are like, no, okay, fine. We need to sort out the child. But I'm like, no, let's just take a deep breath, because what's going on here, if you don't allow it to come out, if you don't allow, like Margaret said, forgiveness to come through, because it doesn't matter how many things you have said you have done wrong, right. When your child is not doing okay, they are in drugs, they're struggling with depression, you will always go back and say, maybe it's because of that one thing I didn't do, or that other thing I didn't do. So focusing on yourself, first of all, is taking stock. What spaces of guilt are you struggling with? What are those spaces? And I'm very big on acknowledging and naming, because when we name things, when we speak them, they begin to loosen their power over us. Okay, so what spaces of guilt do you have along the way? There are those who will say, I think I put them in boarding too early, or whatever. They're just, let me tell you, and even in the book has a small list of things that we feel guilty about. I have a bigger list in my therapy books and coaching books. Okay, we feel there are so many spaces of guilt. And for as long as we are carrying that, it blocks our clarity in what we need to do moving forward with this child. It blocks our clarity. So let's go back. Margaret talked about forgiveness. Forgiveness is a process. The first one is in acknowledging that this is what I did wrong, and there are some things you actually did wrong. It's okay. You are doing what you needed to do given the circumstances you are in, okay? So acknowledging doesn't mean beating yourself up. Acknowledging means, look, I could have taken this path, but I took this other path. And I took that other path because in that moment, that's the only thing I could do. So here I am sitting and I'm saying, Carol, you did what you needed to do in that moment. You probably needed to do this other thing. I am choosing to forgive you. Because it's very easy to ask God for forgiveness. Even before we ask God for forgiveness, He forgives us, But the hardest thing is forgiving ourselves. The hardest thing is going back and speaking those things. And in spaces like that, you will need somebody to walk with, whether it's a coach, a therapist, a pastor, a friend, someone who you can be authentic with. Get somebody, sit down and say, look, I need to speak these things that are weighing heavily in my heart, okay? Now, because there'll always be those things. So whatever is weighing you, and so it's either, it could be spaces of guilt, it could also be fears, it could also be someone else who has contributed to your child being there, but whatever is weighing you down, please get it out, because we need clarity in your heart. That's why parenting with your heart in mind is about just being able to clear those spaces in your heart so that you can see, it removes the lenses so that you can be able to see clearly. So if you're looking at your child in lenses of guilt, of fear and all that, then it takes away from what you need to do. So that's first, just, and again, allow that to be a process. Forgive yourself. Number two, one of the things that we are learning more and more in this field, more about the brain and all that, is just how malleable the brain is and how changeable, how things can change when put in the right environment. And therefore, more and more, we need to let go of that notion of what we always have used in parenting, that there is a window of opportunity. And I want us to really take this with an open-mindedness, because we always say, oh, by 7, if you haven't done this, you've lost them. By the time they come to teenage, if you haven't done this, you've lost them. And I do not know then what kind of God we are preaching if we are saying, if you didn't do it, then too late, too bad. And that's what we do. In fact, I've been in spaces where we say, if you didn't do 1, 2, 3, now it's either God or therapy. What are we saying? You know, that is so damning. And yet, you and I, Muthoni, Margaret, Jacqueline, Harold, if you think about your last 5 years, how much transformation have you gone through? A lot of transformation. Why don't we allow that space into our parenting and say, and for me, one of my biggest preaching lines is, it is never too late.
Yeah.
It is never too late. If you're able to clear that space of guilt, number one. Number two, with that clarity, then go. You know, the other thing is draw from God. Draw from God, the God of second chances, the God of wisdom. When you're having an intense moment with your child and you don't know what to do, take a deep moment there and say, God, I am feeling very lost in this very moment. Tell me what to do. And sometimes what he will tell you to do, Muthoni, is, and don't do anything. But we don't want to do that.
Yes.
Because you know, I mean,
we want to do something.
Want to do something because you have to do something. So for that mom, I would say it's never too late. Talk to somebody, open up your heart, and then begin the journey of creating or recreating. Definitely, if you had done some things when they were 7, some things would be easier at 13. That we acknowledge. But let's not close that door and say nobody's window of opportunity is lost if they are intentional. If they say, first of all, I'm coming from a place of healing, a place of openness to receive wisdom from God, because he sees the path of this child where we don't see. Okay? And there's an analogy I like to use about the archer, the bow and the arrow. And God is the archer, okay? And we are the bows, and our children are the arrows. Between the bow, the arrow, and the archer, there's only one person who sees where the arrow is supposed to go. It's not the arrow, and it's not the bow. Okay? It is the archer. He sees the path that this arrow is supposed to go. And a lot of the struggles we have, it's us being bent, you know, like the way the bow is bent. The more it is bent, the farther the arrow will go, actually. Okay. So if we are pliant in the archer's hands, if we allow the archer to, because to be honest, a lot of our parenting issues have a lot to do with trusting, not being able to trust God. Okay, because there's a release that we need to do that has nothing to do with our ego and our own, you know, a lot of our own stuff. But just being able to say, like both of you have said, I've done my part, the rest, I allow God to do it. So I think for me, several messages there. Process your guilt, process your feelings, process your fear, reach out to a friend, name those things, okay? And then remember, it's never too late to begin to do the work that you need to do so that you are stable and stand firm. Because the older they are, the harder the fights. Are you going to be stable to stand on your feet as the fights come? Are you able to be firm? Are you able to be loving and firm at the same time?
Awesome. And I'm just here to say this to a parent out there. Even, you know, I just see a parent who has a child in their 20s and things are not going well. And of course, when if you go the direction for guilt, we will always find something we did not do right. And so for that mother out there, and you're thinking it's too late for me to do anything for my child, if you can hear what Dr. Caro is saying, it is never too late. Yes, the work might be a little bit more because the child is older, but it is never too late for you to be able to do something. So be encouraged, don't give up. And an emphasis there, first, strengthen yourself so that you can be able to take this fight. So at the end of the day, we are saying focus on yourself, strengthen yourself so that you can also be there for this child, and it is never too I know I've also preached these windows of opportunity gospel. And if I'm hearing what Dr. Caro is saying, yes, there are seasons or there are windows where things will be like perfectly, this is where they should be taught at. But if you think about like the Gumbaro classes, the classes for older people, you're saying, I missed my opportunity to do high school, but here I am, I would want to do it. And so someone goes out there and they do what they would have wanted to do. It's much harder. It will require more work, more effort, but we are saying that the window is not completely shut. So for a mother who is out there feeling so much guilty because of 1, 2, 3 things you think you should have done, maybe when the child was below 10, when the child was in their teenagehood, do not give up. There is always, and then I've also liked what you've said, we have a God of many chances. I even now say not even second chances, it's many, many, many chances. God says that he's slow to anger, he's abounding in love, and so he wants to reach your child, he wants to reach you. So look inward and just be able to process your feelings, process yourself, understand yourself, and then go out and get your child. Go out and strengthen your child, and it is possible. I also hear to say that we serve a God of all possibilities. So it is very, very much possible. So for a mother who is out there, you did not even enjoy Mother's Day because you're thinking about all the things that you did not do right, how your child has done in this way you didn't like, just know that God is reaching out to you. He wants to strengthen you. He wants you to be okay, and he wants you to go out there and get your challenge. So it is very, very possible. Let me get to Margaret as we bring this to a close in the next maybe 10 minutes. Margaret, in your opinion, is there life-work balance? And I think this is an absolutely amazing question for you, especially because you work like, 10 hours away from your family. And I can just be able to see you're trying to build your career as a woman in a very male-dominated, industry. And then here you have your family and you want to be able to do well even for your family. So is there that place where we're saying this is, a good balance?
Yes, we can have a work balance. Parenting with a mission, first of all, is very intentional. You have to be clear about it. You must set your intent straight. Why? Because there are many distractors on the way. So you must starve your distractors and focus on where you want to go. Feed your focus more and more. When I got that job, first thing that people really asked me is, are you going with the kids? How are you leaving them? And it is a job I had really trusted God for. And so I just made a prayer and told God, your blessings, they add no sorrow.
Amen.
And I settled it and I had peace. So one of the things Dr. Caro is saying is, let it settle in your heart. And if you don't have that clarity, I've had enough storms in my life, even currently. But if you don't settle, you will get so many people giving you, do this, so many commands, so many commands. And if you don't know who you are, you'll run, do this command, it fails. You come back, try this, at the end of it, you're going to crash, you're going to burn out. So the first thing is you must do parenting with intent. So your intent must be very clear. Your intent means you will sacrifice. Somebody will ask you, every day you're traveling, going to see that family every other weekend. Why can't they come? But you set your goals clear. Talk to your children. Don't ever think they are small, even if they are very young, even if it's a 2-year-old. I realize they are part of their lives. So don't imagine you'll just wake up, pick a bag and go. The child, next time you come, they'll be crying, where did you go? Or you'll find some rejection. Maybe they are now tending to go more to the nanny than you. So the conversation lines, number 2, must be very open. Nowadays, we have media. Media is good and media is bad, but one of the greatest tools we have is a phone. Try and communicate to your children. Don't let the job take their place. So at least I make a point every day, I must talk to them, confirm they've done their work. What challenges do they have? If they have anything they need to ask their dad, I talk to them. Then we pray together. We must pray together. I'm very intentional about that bit because I know I'm a workaway mother. I need that job. But again, I must be very intentional. I must communicate. Number 3, I must sacrifice. Sometimes I have to bring them where I am during their long holidays. So I have to sacrifice both financial, my time, my everything, so that, as Carol said, also you must work on your relationship. Otherwise, you'll find you're a stranger to your kids. And later on, they'll tell you, we needed you and you are never there for us.
Yeah.
But above all, I would wish to let mothers know that this noble cause God gave us, it's a very enjoyable journey. If we look at it in terms of it's a blessing, and even every challenge coming out of it, there has always to be an answer. But if you look at it like it is a suffering or, it is not settled in your heart, you will find a lot of struggle. And when the peer pressure comes, sometimes you can succumb because your intention was not right at the beginning. So when everybody is saying this and that and that, and it's coming and it's like your kids will get spoiled and it's like, are you sure you can entrust somebody else? You will lose your mind. But if it is settled in your heart and you know your intent is clear, you know, even when I'm sacrificing, there is a reason behind the sacrifice and it is not a punishment. At the end of it all, you will enjoy the journey and the outcome will be great. But above all, you must be resilient because remember, there's pressure. So now the kids are bringing you their pressure. If you're in a relationship, their dad has his own needs you need to take care of. Workplace has its own pressure. I work in an engineering sector. It has never been easy. And sometimes, if you don't have your collectiveness, as Dr. Carol has emphasized, you can easily crash. And when you crash, you can even go into depression, lose your life, die, and leave the very kids. So above all, in all that storm, find your calmness in your sphere, in your space. And I think when you're there, you'll be able to operate it well. It will not bother you to take a flight or a vehicle to come and visit your people for only 2 days and go back, because it will be settled in your heart. And even your why am I doing it? Let it be so clear why I have to do it. But if it is not settled, the why, the how becomes absolutely hard to do it. Thank you.
Awesome. I like a number of things you've said there. Very tweetable tweets. Starve your distractions, feed your focus, settle it in your heart, find your calmness, set it from the start. I mean, that's so tweetable, like just put them out there. And I really like what you're saying, that parenting, that's true. You can put them on Twitter and then they'll do very well. One of the things I'm hearing you and just seeing what you do, even in your life, is that we will not have perfect circumstances for us to become good mothers, for us to be able to achieve what we want to achieve in life. And I've realized, even as I'm doing many things in the ministry that we are in, that people will always come and tell you, you know what you're doing, I think you should do it like this. And then the same thing someone has told you, the next person tells you something that sets you on the east. This one sends you on the west, this one on the north. So you're just like, if you're not clear, if you don't set your intent from the beginning, all of us, we will come and give you advice that this is how you should do it, but that's based on my circumstances, which is not your circumstances. And so one of the things that I would absolutely want to encourage mothers out there set your intent from the beginning. As they say, there are many ways to skin a cat. I don't know who skins a cat, but they say that there are many ways for us to be able to do these things. And so you look at your life, you look at your circumstances, you look at the resources that you have, you look at the networks you have, and you say, this is what will work for me. And you stick to that, because that is how you parent with a mission. You're so clear, this is what you want to do. I've homeschooled my kids for the last 10 years, and people always come and say, oh, are they going to turn out okay? Are they sociable? Are they? But I am very clear on what I want to achieve. And of course, you will go along the way you're adjusting where you think you should adjust. You can take credible advice here and there. But if you are not very intentional from the beginning, you're going to move all the ways. You go east today, then you change. You start a different parenting style. Then you see that a friend comes and visits and tells you of their amazing style. You pick that, and then you find that you're so lost in what you're doing. So parenting with a mission, we are saying that you speak with God. We are Christians. We can hear God. Let God tell you what he desires with these children. Set that intent, stay at it until he tells you to change, and then you move forward. Thank you very much, Margaret. I have one last question as we come to a close. Dr. Carol, shaped by our past. Oh, I wanted to say, Margaret has amazing stories in this book, The Diamond Underneath. It's an absolutely good book, well written. It won Content of the Year, African Christian Authors Book Award last year for the women category. It's an amazing book full of stories of resilience, inspired by real life events that have happened in Margaret's life. So you can get that copy from a bookshop near you, or from CLC Kenya, from the African Christian, AfricanAuthors.net. Just go and get the book. It's an amazing book. It will inspire you as a woman. Dr. Carol, one of my second favorite chapter in, so I have a number of them, but one of them, of course, is how you're showing up. And I absolutely like that. And you've shared about how we need to build a relationship with our children. Everything has to stem from there. But there's this chapter in the book, Shaped by My Past. And I'm thinking about all of us who have made some serious mistakes, some not very serious, but still mistakes. And those mistakes were made 30 years ago, 20 years ago. And those mistakes are so real in our lives right now. For a woman who is maybe struggling with the past that is negative, some of us, we are privileged, we have positive past that, helps us and strengthens us. But there are so many women out there, mothers out there, who made mistakes 10 years ago, 15, 20 years ago. And those mistakes are still shaping who they are right now. And they've been unable, absolutely, to move forward from where they are. What is your 1, 2, 3 tips for us to be able to move forward?
Forgive yourself. I think Margaret brought that up.
Yes.
Shaped by our past. That chapter is informed mostly by what we are carrying from our past. Like how am I, when I was young, I had experienced several things, and because you're young, it's like you're like a sponge. You soak in all your experiences, and then growing up, you even make very, very firm declarations. I will never do da-da-da-da. But under pressure, whatever is inside that sponge is just what comes out, no matter how much you try. So yes, those people exist, Muthoni, when you're saying they're trying to change, but they can't.
Yeah.
It still boils down to going back to allowing yourself to get into the root cause of your issues. What you're seeing, your struggle is the tip of the iceberg. Allow yourself to go back there. Pray, ask God, shine your light into those spaces in my life that need healing.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's one of the hardest prayers for us to, because he will. And when he does that, it's ugly, it's messy, and the one thing you want to do is just run away again.
Yeah.
Okay. But allow yourself to sit in the discomfort of the discoveries. And as God shows you, you can do it with a friend. You can ask God to just show you. And if it's a moment of journaling, you journal and allow that space. So you need to actually, that part of me time is not just the feel good me time. We should have me time of allowing ourselves to explore deeper what is going on with us, or what was going on with us through journaling. Okay. I always encourage you get an accountability person that you're walking this journey with. But even beyond that, get a professional counselor, get a professional coach, get a spiritual authority who is also well grounded in human behavior, guiding you into stuff like that, so that they're able to support you as they pray with you. They also help you process the deeper spaces, not just, and because we have different outlooks to life, and some of us do not want to dwell in the things of the past. It's important that you go there. Okay, it's important. Sometimes I lose clients because I make them go there. They're like, this is not what I came for. I wanted this, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not able to support you there. So my whole point is, we are shaped by the things, a lot of the negative things that happen, but we're also shaped by the positive things that happen.
Yes.
Okay, so it's good to acknowledge both of them. But the things that pull us down are the negative ones. And we need to allow ourselves to go there through an intentional process. So part of parenting with a mission is being intentional about going into your past and finding healing into those spaces. And healing does not necessarily have to be a long, drawn-out process. In fact, when we uncover what it is, we've done 60% of the work. When we know what we are dealing with, we've done 60% of the work, because now I finally know what's been plaguing me. That's the hardest part. And it happens even with someone, you're struggling, you're having stomach problems, and you've been going through several tests and they can't find anything. Then finally the doctor is like, now we know what it is. It might be a life-threatening diagnosis, but now at least we know what we are dealing with. There's a sense of relief that comes with that. And that's what we should allow ourselves to go there. Because many of us are doing what we have a scape over the wound. So the wound inside is festering. It's festering, it's still pain, it continues to dig, but we have a scape. So the process is not easy. The process is removing that scape and allowing, I even talked about that description in the book, allowing yourself to go in there. So allow yourself the journey, find someone to walk with, reach out to me, reach out to somebody who is qualified to help you walk in this process, and give yourself a few sessions to just get the tools that you need. And that's why, Muthoni, when you ask me, give me 1, 2, 3 tips, I don't even know where to start. Because first of all, you need to be able to know what it is. And then now you can use those tips. You can use those now. You can journal, you can talk to a friend, you can do all that. But without knowing, that's what sometimes we're given a lot of tips. And sometimes we'll even stand and tell the parents, do this, do that. But they seem so easy to us. But what's holding them back is a past that they are unable to get out. So
awesome. So
you're really good at summarizing, Muthoni. What have I said?
You have said, bottom line, we have to forgive ourselves. Of course, it's good when we have good past that shapes us. That one we are happy to talk about that and share that. But the negative past, we have to forgive ourselves. We have to forgive people we thought hurt us or affected us. And then I'm also hearing an emphasis of me time. In your me time, process your thoughts. And I like what you said. This is also very tweetable. When you diagnose your problem, you have solved it 60%. Then the rest 40, you have to work it out and then get an accountability partner or mentor or someone to work with you so that you can be able to process that. And I've seen some of the mothers, I've worked with in the past few years who have not had the time to process what happened to them. They've actually now, they are hurting their daughters the same way their mothers hurt them, and they don't even know. So I asked myself, wait a minute, this person just shared with me how their mother hurt them. And then I'm looking at how they are handling their daughter, and I'm like, it's exactly the same thing. But because they've not had that opportunity to be able to process, then they don't know there's a problem. So I like that. When I use it, I'm going to put it on my Facebook wall that when you diagnose your problem, 60%, you're 60% along the way to be able to find a solution. Thank you very much. I absolutely love this conversation. The speakers, Dr. Carol Chakua, the author of Parenting with Your Heart in Mind. So you're taking here and you're putting here so that you just know this is what you're doing. And the book, yeah. And the book, yeah, we can do it together. Let's see. There we go. Yeah, and the book is available at a bookshop near you, but also available at Kenya, www.kenyatlc.org and africanauthors.net, Nuria Bookshop Junior. The book is available, so go get the book. It has some amazing topics right there. My favorite I've shared. I don't want to inform, but let me just let you know. I like how you're showing up, and then I also like how we are shaped by our past. So those are my two favorite. Very amazing stuff. All the other chapters are also as equally amazing. And Dr. Carol also runs classes for parents, right?
Yes, I do.
So you follow her on Facebook. You'll be able to see when she's running these forums. Join, be empowered. The Bible says, my people perish for lack of knowledge. Empower yourself with knowledge. The thing you might be thinking as a mother, this is very difficult. Then you realize in one session, you're just like, oh, it is not that difficult. Or you're thinking, the devil wins over us by isolating us. You're thinking, I am the only one who, husband left or this happened or child is doing. Then you come and find we are all of us, we are so many. So you are empowered to know that there are other women out there, some even going through a more challenging circumstance than yours, and they are fighting. So you cannot give up. And then we had Margaret talked about the diamond underneath. Let's see, Margaret. Yeah, there we go. And this is an amazing book full of stories. It's very well written. I think it won the top content for the category of women last year. Very well written. And Margaret shares her challenges. She's gone through so much, and yet she's here. I even know right now she's not feeling well, and she's still here. And she's saying, I'm not going, because I was asking, would you want not to show up because you're not feeling well? But she's like, no, I want to be able to do this because I cannot allow my challenges to define who I am. We are scaling through. She's talked about resilience, which I absolutely love. Being summarized. I have a longer version, but we will use her version, which is you need to bounce back. And then once you bounce back, you have to thrive. And I know that because we are women who believe in God, He has said that He will be with us always till the end of time. So if your mother out there, be encouraged. Just know that you're not alone. There are people who can work with you. Dr. Carol has so many forums, so many sessions. She also does one-on-one, but so many sessions, and even the inspiration that she offers on Facebook, just Facebook alone. So you just need data to get to Facebook. And I know I see you on Facebook. So you're already on Facebook. So you can empower yourself, be inspired, know you're not alone, know that God is there with you, know that there are other people who are out there who are going through challenging times like Margaret, and they are scaling through. people who are empowering women like yourself. And so there is no excuse for us not to enjoy an absolutely amazing Happy Mother's Year, because we are mothers throughout. And so I pray for mothers out there. I wanted to read one scripture that I absolutely love. In Proverbs chapter 31, verse 31. And my prayer for all the mothers out there is that may the Lord, I'm paraphrasing the scripture, may the Lord honor all the moms out there for all that their hands have done, and let their works bring praise at the city gate. City gate is a place of authority, where if we look at it from the Old Testament perspective, that may the Lord bring your works to praise at the city gates, the place of authority. And all of us have been given that place of authority. It could be at home, it could be at our workplace, it could be at our churches, at our communities, at our estate. It is a place of honor that God has given us, and may our works be very prosperous. God bless you so much. Dr. Carol, I'm so blessed to have you tonight. Margaret, I'm so honored to have you tonight. And let me say thank you to my amazing team, Jacqueline and Helen, always my iron and hard, and they lift my hands and make these things happen. And then for Joanne for organizing this for us, for encouraging us to have this conversation. Joanne, thank you very much. We appreciate you. Jacqueline, Helen, we appreciate you. Until next time, bye. Bye, Dr. Carol. Bye, Margaret. Bye, Jacqueline. Bye, Joanne. Bye, Helen. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
This is the Author Panel Edition, hosted by Muthoni Omukhango and sponsored by CLC Kenya.